Kai, I see a lot of spiritual activity going on around you.
Yeah, that's I can see them. You know, that's my allies. I have a lot of spiritual muscle, a lot of protection, a lot of stuff. I have a lot of enemies in this world and in other worlds, so I need a lot of protection. I have a lot of protected spirits, certain elementals, a lot of spirits who help me out. So, and plus, I'm a guy who I seek information, secrets. And sometimes I'll create a spirit just to go do that, just to go spy on somebody for me, just to go find some item that I need. So yeah, I got a lot going on. So you're gonna see that when you're around. But no worries. When you're with me, you're gonna safe hands.
All right, Kai, we're rolling.
Okay. I decided to give the people the initiated ritual for Haitian voodoo summoning. I started off with the how to kill a voodoo spirit, and I figured I'd follow with how to summon one because it's like I want you to know that you don't have to be a slave to these beings. That's not the what this is about. This is about a sharing relationship that's supposed to be made if you want to do such a thing. I would advise calling any voodoo spirit, but whatever. I decided to do this because I was in a really cool group on Facebook, and a guy asked about how to summon a certain voodoo spirit, and I said, I watched, I looked at it, I looked at our answers. Nobody gave me answers, or people were saying like you should do whatever, and I figured like why not? So I gave them the ritual, and I noticed that nobody has it. I've only been back in society for a small amount of time, so I don't know what the people know, what they don't. But I know that ritual. I know actually a couple ways to summon voodoo spirits, but I know the normal initiate way, and then I know the Bazong way, the way that I was brought in, slightly more complex. But I'm willing to tell it because why not? So first of all, though, when we discuss voodoo, it's important that you realize that what it is. You know what I mean? Voodoo, Voodoo. All that is a westernized term used to denote a black guy doing magic, or another word for black magic. It means it's got away from its original meaning. The original voodoo was Vodou, a religion from a kingdom that was called Dahomey, which is in today, which is Benin, West Africa. This religion is said by the people that lived there is about 400 years old. There was a woman named Hawanjali who actually is the one who ushered in that specific pantheon. Before then, there was no voodoo spirits. There was no voodoo. The word is actually a Fan word, and it means spirit, or it implies the invoking of the spirit. Nonetheless, that was also the name of the pantheon that today, that in Haiti they call the Loa. Now Haitian voodoo, Vodou, is different. It's a amalgamation of various systems that were brought to the island of Hispaniola. Far different from the original voodoo. The original voodoo from West Africa, Benin, it didn't even involve magic. It was more devotional. You can look it up. We had a system called Bo in West Africa that was strictly magic. It had nothing to do with religion or gods. It was strictly magic. That's closer to your OBL, your hoodoo. But the Haitian voodoo, it took a lot of stuff from other systems, and so it's a completely different thing than what it was originally. Either way, I'll give you the ritual. You got to be careful with it. And let me tell you something about the ritual. The ritual is very unprofessional as it pertains to high magic, evoking spirits, summoning spirits. It doesn't have the protections that I believe it should have. It doesn't have the order that it should have. It's very loose. The people who are in the Haitian voodoo, they trust their spirits completely in a way that no spirit should really be trusted. There is no spirit you should really summon and not have some kind of, defensive measure that you could take in case something goes wrong. I've seen things go very wrong in Haitian voodoo ritual.
So did you get everything that we need for the ritual?
Yeah, I did. It doesn't take a whole lot to do the Haitian voodoo ritual of evocation. It's very rudimentary when compared to the more sophisticated systems of evoking spirits, like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. They got away from Africa. They figured out the ancient Egyptian style of summoning spirits. Even the African American voodoo way of conjuring spirits. I'm going to show that on another video, but even that's much more safe than the Haitian voodoo way. The Haitian voodoo way is very loose in how they do what they do. Not a lot of safety, not a lot of security measures are taken at all. But it's the most dangerous way to evoke a spirit, but it's also the most eventful because possession happens. People get possessed that's what it's designed to do. Most really high level, the more advanced occultists, they don't want any spirit possessing them, but some cultures prefer that, so it is what it is. And anything we need, we ready to go. We out.
So Kyle, what makes the Haitian voodoo way of summoning spirits more dangerous than other ways?
Well, I got experience in multiple ways of summoning spirits. The African American hoodoo manner of summoning spirits is a lot safer. But the most safe I've ever seen is the way from Old Egypt. It's known as the Hermetic way of doing it, and it was popularized by the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That was a system based on Old Africa that was created by two Masons over a century ago. So and it's very safe. That method, the way from Old Egypt, is so safe. In fact, that or it has so many security measures. In fact, that before your ritual to even summon the spirit, you have to do a ritual to summon bodyguards from the very beginning. It's known as the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, where you summon four beings. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's archangels, but it could be any four beings of your choosing if you know how to align them with the proper directions, because they stand on the four corners. You got to know which one corresponds to the east, west, so forth and so on. But nevertheless, that was their way. The way from Old Egypt, it was like, if we're gonna summon somebody, we need muscle, because we don't, you never know what could happen. Things can get ugly fast when it comes to high level occult affairs. And that's not it, because the Hermetic way also has the circle of protection that you stand in. It has the triangle manifestation, and not just a circle of manifestation. You could also put protective spirits' names there or their symbols there to also, give it added strength to your circle. And with the triangle manifestation that the spirit is supposed to manifest in, there's also a way to you put certain symbols also there of the demiurge or of the archons, the jailers of the soul, and these symbols would also serve as making it so that the spirit can't get out of the triangle manifestation. It's very meticulous when it comes to being safe and secure. Now, the African American hoodoo way, when we do our circle of protection, it's made of some type of salt, sea salt, kosher salt, some type of powerful salt, and it also is, or we even use red brick dust sometimes. In hoodoo we were very careful also, and we're big on allies in hoodoo also. So it's not as official as the calling, as like say the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, but it is still very effective in manner in which we would utilize allies in hoodoo upon when we wanted to call another spirit or summon or conjure another spirit. So it's and also there's an Italian form of witchcraft. The precursor to like witchcraft and Wicca was known as Strigaria. I studied that with an Italian kid before, and in that system, even their method of summoning a spirit is far safer than the Haitian Voodoo method. The Haitian Voodoo method does not have the necessary safety measures to ensure the safety of the evocator or anybody else around. Because that's the other thing. After the ritual is done, in Haitian Voodoo, there is no banishment to clean the energy, whether dark or whoever. There is no ritual to clean that energy, and that's bad because when you don't banish the spirit after it leaves, it can linger around and affect people around you. If you did it at your home, it's going to affect people in your home. It could, if it's a darker spirit, that energy can make you sick if you don't banish it properly. It could cause fights in your home, disagreements. It could be very terrible if you don't banish after a ritual evocation. And some of the people that are in the Haitian Voodoo say, well, no, we trust them, and we we don't need any of that, protections, because we trust them. They won't do anything bad to us. I can give you a lot of reference of Haitian Voodoo priests getting killed. I can even give you a reference from some years ago, recently though, not that long ago, where there was a disease that the minister UN soldiers that was in Haiti, or that are in Haiti, they brought a disease, cholera, and the people in Haiti, they thought that it was the voodoo priests. So they went outside and they rounded up 50 voodoo priests and they lynched them in the street. Now these are voodoo priests, people who served the Lord their entire life. They loved the Lord and they trusted them beyond anything. They died like dogs in the street, very sadly, by some Catholics, by some barefoot Catholics that just went on a rampage and killed them. My point in saying that is, a voodoo priest or a voodoo bukor is no safer than anybody else. Those spirits are not going to save you when you need it. They'll help somebody if it's in their benefit, but they always got an agenda up their sleeve. I know these spirits very, very well. They had me caught up in a vast conspiracy myself. Anyway, but yeah. So it's those spirits shouldn't be trusted enough where you don't take any protective measures. No spirit should be trusted to that extent that if you're going to summon him, him or her, you're not gonna have any protective measures whatsoever. Unwise to do. And this is coming universally speaking. I don't have a specific path that I've tried most of them, all of them in the West that are of significant power, and that's an opinion from a professional. Gotta be safe. You can't be too careful with you and your loved ones, because what you do with spirits oftentimes can affect your loved ones in the future. But yeah, we're almost there. So get ready, because it's rare. Nobody releases this type of information. It's initiated information that I am giving. So is the last ritual. All this stuff is stuff that is, a first time type of events. It's very rare that somebody's willing to give that, especially Bizongo type of information. People tell me, hey, be careful because that's serious and people kill and they'll do. I say, man, shut that shit up. Nobody care about no damn Bizongo or no damn voodoo, whoever thinking about doing something to somebody. Voodoo is not a significantly powerful tradition as it pertains to the really true systems of mysticism that exist. But all right, I'm about to be here. All right, so here are the basic ingredients if you want to do a voodoo ritual summoning. There are multiple ways of doing this, but you could only do a few couple ways, because the way the priests do it, they shaking a sign, and some of them have certain tattoos in certain places that makes them easier to possess, or makes the voodoo spirits respond to them faster than most people. But you're not initiate, so that's not the way that you would do it. The way that you would do it would be the way of the Bokor. The way that I do it would be both, the way of the Bazang and the way of the Bokor. The Bazang way was different. It was more to it. But the regular way that you could summon a voodoo spirit, the way that a lot of initiates are taught early in the beginning, and if you go to voodoo ceremonies, you'll see it yourself. All you really need is cornmeal, mouchoir, that's what they call it in Haiti, mouchoir, some rum, and the Spirits Veve. These are books that have from Haitian voodoo priests that are official. This Haitian voodoo priestess is actually she's a scholar. She's an ethnologist, an anthropologist, researcher, you know, along with being a Mambo Asagwe, which is the highest level. The highest level that most people know about anyway. But, and she gives out, you know, a lot of veves. She gives out, you know, what they do, what they're for. You can see? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she gives out a lot. You know, I mean, that other book does too, but this book is more reputable, you know, about their symbols and about what the voodoo spirits actually do. Okay, you can also use Florida water depending on who you're calling. A guy asked me about the Baron, so I figured I would use him as my example. I'm not gonna go through and actually have someone get possessed, because I don't want voodoo spirits possessing anybody that I'm close to. But we're gonna go through the motions exactly how it's supposed to be done, step by step, starting with what you need. So here we go. Now also you need candles. You know, I have 3 black candles. Because you can use black or purple candles if you call, like, say, the Baron. And I have it in a triangle so that the person who is to be possessed would stand right here in the triangle, you know. And it's not traditional Haitian voodoo to set it up like this, like a triangle. But I've learned that when you do it like this, the person who gets possessed, they also won't be able to get out of this if you do it like this, and everything is corresponding properly in the sense of the symbols utilized, things like that. But the triangle in and of itself is a very powerful geometrical symbol. Anyway, I'm going to try to separate the things that are not Haitian voodoo from the things that are, because the Haitian voodoo people, they're quick to say, wait a minute, this isn't official. It's like, and most Haitian voodoo initiates don't even know what's really official, because the higher you get up, the more you see that the lower levels of it, the higher ones don't even go by any of that. The higher levels is completely different. But anyway, traditionally you would have either candles all around corresponding to your spirit's color. You also would wear your spirit's specific color. Like if it was the Baron, you would wear purple and black. Purple and or black. If it was Azuli Freda, it would be pink. If it was Danto, it would be red or blue. You know, and one thing though that I would, even if you're traditional, into traditionally in the voodoo, I would always bring a weapon. I would always bring a weapon, a gun, or a knife, or a sword, or a machete, because even if you bring a gun, you also should have a knife or a machete, because if things get out of control, you might have to use lethal force. Example I gave was Rudy Eugene. If you look up a man named Rudy Eugene, this man was a Haitian, and one day, now he lived a regular life, working his job, living his life or whatever, and one day, you know, he went outside and all of a sudden he takes all his clothes off and he runs down the street naked and jumps on a guy and starts to eat his face. He attacks the man and he eats his face. He ate the man's eyeball out even, and half his face. And when the cops came and they found the guy on the ground eating this guy's face, the cops, you know, they said, you know, they yelled to him to get off, they put out their guns, and they say that he snarled and growled like a wild beast animal and charged at the cops, and the cops killed him. Now, after this, his girlfriend said he was involved deeply into dark voodoo. And when they did his toxicology test, all he had was weed in the system. Look it up, Rudy Eugene. They call him the Causeway Cannibal or the Miami Zombie, something like that. And those are things that can happen, summoning voodoo spirits, messing around with voodoo on the heavier levels of it and not knowing what you're doing. Those things happen. Rarely in the States, more often in the islands. Nevertheless, those things happen, so you got to be careful. It's really no joke when you're talking about spirit possession. It's one thing summoning spirits, that's dangerous too, potentially dangerous too, but when you're having people get possessed, That opens up a whole new can of worms. So you got to have a weapon with you. And oftentimes, if you ask people from Haiti, oftentimes possessed people, for whatever reason, bullets don't seem to stop them. You know, at least, you know, one, shoot them once or shoot them twice, doesn't, you know, that doesn't seem to stop them. But for whatever reason, knives do, you know what I mean, work. If you shoot them enough times, of course he'll die. But usually we don't have the type of environment where we can shoot a guy with, you know, a whole clip. So you have to be forced to use a knife. You know, you got to be hard. That's the difference between these new age voodoo guys and the guys that was dealing with it, you know, over a decade ago like me. You had to be hard. You could not be a soft kind of guy. Even the spirits themselves wouldn't respect you if they found you to be a soft kind of guy. You had to be hard. You had to be willing to do whatever it took to survive or whatever it took to succeed. Okay, anyway. So yeah, this is the basics of what you need, and I'm going to show you step by step how to go through it. It's very simple. It's very easy. There's nothing difficult to it. I think it's really reckless because, like I said, you know, you do this thing professionally, you do this thing like old Egypt, you know, you're going to have all kinds of protections everywhere. You're going to have symbols. You're going to have all kinds of protections everywhere. And if you do this thing in hoodoo, you're going to be in, you know, some type of force field. For example, sea salt. Sea salt is a good force field. You pour this around you, like I'm going to pour it around you. And I'm also going to give you another symbol that that helps you protect yourself from spirits. You know, I'm going to give you both of them, the pentagram and the hexagram. Like I said, I don't like to deal with it because it's dealing with the demiurge, but there are a lot of spirits that respect that the symbols of the demiurge, you know what I mean? So it has a good effect, you know what I mean? But the salt alone, you know what I mean, will be able to keep you from being possessed in this ritual. All right. Okay, so we're going to step one.